Hey guys, today is March the 16th of 2022, and I want to show you gold key levels you want to keep watching, and some cycles. And it's pretty much an update from my last video I put out, gold cycles versus the Ukraine crisis. So let's see where we're at. As you can see right now, this right here is going to be some interesting support, anywhere between the 1915, 1912, 1900. It's fighting right now. Right now we're at 1908 and it's trying to hold this key level. If it could hold it, there could be a chance that we could probably bounce and maybe continue to the upside. But that remains to be seen. So that's the first thing you want to keep an eye on the weekly chart, if it could hold that level. The next chart I want to show you is my Fib grid chart. There's a key level using the Fib grid, which is in 1914, right there. Kind of lines up, you see, with that resistance point. If we can hold that, and it's going to push lower, 1788 will be your next level you want to keep an eye on. But this is where the battle is between the bears and the bulls. From this area, and the Fib grid confirms it. Let's go now into our midpoint chart. And you can see that on the yearly, we're still positive. On the monthly, we're positive. On the weekly, now we're negative because we're below the 50% from the weekly. And that's why you see it's red. On the daily range, we're below the 50%. So we'll start off with the yearly. Key levels you want to watch is at 1817. Very important level, if we ever get there. Very important level. Next level will be the monthly, which is at 1882, which it could be possible that we probably get there. It looks very promising. If it pushes lower, I think that could be a great buying opportunity. You can see from that 1888, the extension on the daily lines up right here. Extreme level, especially from the low of yesterday. 1888 is another level you want to watch. Now, when you go to the weekly, you can see that we took out last week's low of 1960, and the extensions were 1930, and now coming up is that 1901. So that's like the battle line right there, that 1900 level. And on the daily, you can see it's the same thing. The low was 1908. If it pushes lower, that level of 1896 and 1883, which lines up with this monthly 50% range. And lastly, what I call my simple glance chart using the monthly and the weekly. I've narrowed down the monthly, I'm sorry, the daily and the weekly. I narrowed it down to 1 month of price action. You can see that the value area high was 1991. Point of control was 1925, which we failed. And the value area low is at 1884. So remember that 1880? Value area low confirming that. Linear regression channel. Last line of support, you got the 50. If you really want to get a nice flush and kiss that 50 SMA, 1868. You got a monthly pivot right here. So the good thing is you're above the cloud. I mean, you're below the 20. You're below the mobile band, so you got a PPS sell signal. MACD turned negative. The last couple of days have been negative on the volume. But on the daily, there's no buy signals yet. And on the weekly, you're smack in the middle of the linear regression channel. And the value area high is at 1884. So that level is a strong level. You can see that right here is the cloud, the top of the cloud, which is support. You see that level right here. And you got a you don't have a PPS sell signal on the weekly, but you have it on the MACD here. The volume has been lately becoming more negative on the weekly bar. Other levels of support of 1817 and the linear regression channel right here, this bottom part, and 1740. If we ever get down there, but I don't know if we will. But you never know. So those are the key levels you want to watch on gold. Okay, this chart right here is the seasonality that I wanted to show you. You can see that we topped out on March the 8th. On my last video, I was talking about it's getting toppy around here, February the 23rd, all the way to like the last week of February, and then you had an explosion to the upside and went all the way as high as the March 8th, 14.27% year to date, and then just collapsed. You can see that from February, they've just been pointing down. So the battle was between price action and seasonality. And even though price action exploded to the upside, it ended up coming back down and sinking and locking in with seasonality. So sometimes you get these extreme reversals or inversions where it's not gonna follow the seasonality exactly. It'll like extreme, like emotions of people, and they just exploded up. And now it's locking in. It's back in sync with the seasonality. So the key dates you want to watch, one of Gann's dates was always the equinox, the change of seasons. And March 21st is interesting, where gold finds, possible swing low, and that's doing the 5-year seasonality. There's also, then it gets a pop, and then, if it comes back down the last week of March, which could be like, a failed new low, or, a correction of of an impulse wave. So if it's going to play this out, it may play it out, it may not, but it's just a reference point, some kind of guide to help us navigate what possibly gold could, be doing in the future. It's not that this is going to be exactly what gold is going to be doing, but if it starts bottoming out on the week of March 21st and it starts going up, then it gets a pullback. That last week of March, any of those days around there, going into April, in theory, using the seasonalities, gold tends to go higher. And it goes all the way to April the 12th, and it kind of, goes either sideways or pulls back. It's not going to go up straight in a line, but you get the idea. So people that missed the boat like I did, because I wasn't going to go against the seasonalities, even though that was a nice little pop. So kudos for you, gold bugs that got in and enjoyed it. I just hope you guys trailed your stops, because if you didn't trail your stop or get out or lock in profits, you can't be greedy. When things like this happen, just trail your stop. Take half off or whatever. How are you playing it with stocks or futures? But either way, if you made money or not, there's an opportunity coming. So we just got to see, if it all plays out and if it's going to follow this pattern. But anyway, just want to let you know on the seasonality on gold. Interesting dates to watch. And it doesn't have to be that it's going to bottom on the March 21st, but that's when the turn on average happens. It could happen even earlier. It could probably be happening, maybe tomorrow, today or tomorrow, in the next 2-3 days. So you just have to just keep your eyes on gold and stay vigilant. And once, whatever technique you use, trading signals, whatever crossovers, whatever you use to say like, okay, it looks like there's a bottom, or it's about to turn, or it's going to turn. This is what I'm used to, trading, and it's in this time frame. Then, there could be probabilities, because that's what we're dealing with, probabilities that maybe if you see some strong volume to the upside, is that maybe there's a turn. And just don't forget to put your stop, just in case you're wrong and it's to trap the bulls and it wants to push lower. at least you got out. But just looking at this, the probabilities are in your favor that it could possibly turn and trend higher into April. And then we'll see what happens once we get into April, what price action is doing. So on this clip here, this is what I call my gold market mind mapping. So this is where I kind of put my thoughts together and kind of look at the big pictures, looking at key levels, looking at the commitments of traders report, which is this one right here, looking at the technical analysis summary. As you can see on the daily, it's kind of neutral. We were from strong buys on all time frames to now, weekly and monthly buy and daily neutral. And on the indicator I use, which I call them yearly, quarterly, monthly, weekly bars, all three are bullish, yearly, quarterly, and monthly, except the weekly. It's more on the bearish. So I put flags, put caution. Seasonality, you can see that on the seasonality thing I showed you. You could probably look at it up in the Ukraine, gold versus Ukraine crisis. This is where it was topping and then approaching bottom. I just added this, which is March 21st through the 29th on the seasonality part. On the cycle spectrum, using an algorithm of RPO, I kind of divided it and got it more organized on my thoughts and the technique and the what I'm using. So I'm breaking them down in sections because gold is very interesting. It's like there's a lot of clusters and things. So I had to kind of separate them just to get to dissect more of what's happening with these cycles. So I broke them down to a year, a 10-year, and a 20-year, and I broke the algorithm between 25, 50, and 100. And what I have here is that on the short, this is shorter time frame, more fractal. You can look at it as like daily, weekly, and monthly, but more like in in cycle analysis. It bottoms out here April 11th, 2022. In this one, and this is composite of all these cycles. So of the mid one, which is the 10-year, there was there's a bottom on February 16, and then it tops out May 18th. So you can see that this one is inverse because I think we topped out on the 8th. Of anything, it's March 8th. I'm sorry, March 8th we topped out, and this one is still bullish. If this plays out, that means that we have a pullback, and then we're gonna resume the trend higher. And then I'll have this on my radar on May 18th, just using this algorithm to just kind of see what's going on once we approach there. This one is bearish because this one is saying on the shorter time frame that it's going to be bottoming out somewhere in April. So this one's bearish. This one is bullish. And this one is like big picture. This one goes back 20 years, picking out the three more important cycles that come up on the spectrum analysis. This one says that it bottomed out on July the 20th, and it tops out July the 22nd of 2023. So this is bullish. Bullish short term is bearish. So if it keeps pushing lower and ignores the seasonalities, and it's like, no, like I said, price is king. I'm going to do what I'm going to do, and it keeps pushing lower, then next date I'll be watching in April will be the 11th using these cycles. And this one, I did a composite of it. I need to work on it a little more, but I did some updates. This composite just came and gone. And the top was the 4th. Right now the top that we did was the 8th. So it was off by 4 days. And the daily cycle topped out on February the 24th. I added a new one here because now it's getting a little more strength, which is 280. Cycle bottoms out today on the 16th, so I have that on the radar just because the 21st, March 21st, is also a bottom on the seasonality. So this one is bullish. I put a check just to kind of see the difference. And then this one tops out on March the 26th. And this one already topped out. Those are the ones I'm watching. The solar cycle bottoms out on the 15th. So there's a cluster here, here, and then the equinox of March the 21st. And then these are all levels. So if you want to, just this is the midpoints. Remember I was telling you about the midpoint chart? These are all those levels I'm watching. And the weekly and the daily, you can see you have red flags, so they are negative. They're below their 50% range. Fib grid, you can see 1914. That's where we're having the battle zone. So like instead of looking at all the charts and pulling up and trying to see the levels and all that, right here in my mind mapping, I get everything in one shot. And I could just kind of visualize and meditate and see, kind of get some sense of this madness of cycles and seasonalities and square range, scoring the 90, the 144, those levels that Gann used, squaring the range right here. You can see all these levels there. The all-time high, 2089. The high of September 6th of 2011, 1921. And then the Fib grid and the market profile, value area high, 1991, point of control, 1925, and the value area low, 1884, which, I'm watching. And then that's it for the gold market mind mapping. Okay, so this is the last chart I want to show you, is the master chart. And let's see, where do I start? So the solar cycles are bottoming out on the 15th. This is the date I showed you on the gold mine mapping. And this is the RPO cycle I've been using. Bottoms out on April. There's the date I'm watching around there, time frame. The mid one is bullish. So remember I told you the smaller time frame. The smaller one was bearish. This one is bullish. This one goes into May. So that remains to be seen which one is going to play out. And then the last one, this is the bigger one. This one that bottomed out somewhere around, I guess you could say July. You can see right here this flush on August. And this one tops out all the way in July of 2023. So this one is bullish. The bigger and the mid time frame are bullish. The shorter time frame is bearish. Looking at seasonalities, just to confirm on the seasonalities, just to see if it's true what's going on with the seasonalities. You can see that right here, the annual decimal and the annual are in sync of showing a possible low somewhere around the last week of March. You can say from the equinox, from now all the way to the end of March, possible bottom. But that remains to be seen. If we take that out and we add our 10-year, you can see that Gann used the 10-year just to kind of see the averages of price action fluctuation. And you can see that in the 10-year, it pushes all the way to May. And then it kind of goes sideways. And in June, then it starts trending up. So I have that on my radar just in case it's going to ignore everything. And maybe it might just, be in sync with the 10-year price action. So we'll see. But it's there on my radar. So we got the annual. We got the annual and decimal showing us probability. But if that doesn't play out, and there's a bull trap, you can see April and May probabilities for maybe a possible swing low there. Using the yearly bar, you can see that it's bullish. as long as we hold 1829 on the quarterly, this is where we at right now. It's probably lower because we're like 1900. We hold 1828. It's still bullish. On the monthly, we're battling right now that you can say 1807. We're fluctuating right there and see if we could hold and still stay bullish on the monthly bar. And then on the weekly, as I showed you in my gold mapping, you can see that on the weekly it's negative. Using the Gann squaring range technique, you can see right here there's this angle that we're fighting to stay above. If we can hold that angle, the next level of support, which would be the 1874. So remember that 1888 around there, 1874. And you got the 50%, 50 SMA, 1867 hovering around there. So if ever flushes down here, you know that on the squaring the range, there's a key level to watch. And I could tell you, remember, I don't know if that's the 1/8. Oh, that's the 1/4, so it's even stronger. The 1/8 was the one up here, which failed also, and this angle. So we had to keep our eyes on that. As you can see, the RSI is very getting to oversold territory, but it could still continue pushing lower. So I just wanted to warn you on that. Is there anything else I wanted to show you? I think that's it for now. Just want to do this quick update on my struggling laptop. Man, I do miss my computer at home. I got all my tools there, so I'm trying to update it and get this one at least where I could, do some good work here, figure some stuff out. But anyway, I hope you're having a great day. I hope you're having a good day trading, and I'll keep you posted on my thoughts on gold, double Gann price and time, technical analysis.